For the Love of God is another very unique piece by Damien Hirst. The piece is a platinum skull set with diamonds, and it's one of Hirst's most important and widely recognized works. And it calls into question a great many ideas when it comes to art. Now, a couple of statistics first. What you see here is a skull made up of 32 platinum plates that are set with 8,601 VVS to flawless Pav set diamonds, weighing a massive 1,106 carats. The teeth inserted into the jaw are real and belong to the original skull. So let's start at the beginning. Hirst did not create the piece. He hired jewelers and metalsmiths to create it. He simply came up with the idea. He, of course, doesn't have the ability to create the skull, to mold it, to work with the platinum, to set the diamonds, etc. And this cost him a considerable amount of money to create. Now, when we look at it, we get a bunch of different ideas that are going to come from it. Here we see the teeth up close, and you see them mounted in. So if you look closely, you can see the mounting platinum that's holding each tooth in place, as well as those diamonds encrusting the entire surface. So as we look at this piece, there are a number of ideas that should pass through your mind. First, it's very similar to Aztec and Mesoamerican decorated masks. And it is very, very similar. Here's an example of one of those Mesoamerican masks, in this case covered in turquoise, to them a particularly precious material. This would be used to depict gods or depict relatives of the past. It was always a gift to a god in one way, shape, or form. And this idea of decorating skulls is one that we also see from the Aztec in other forms, where they insert new eyes, or they may paint the skulls. We even see it today when we look at Dios del Muerte, the Day of the Dead, celebrated in Mexico. The idea of For the Love of God also refers to blood diamonds. In other words, the corruption of the diamond industry, the fact that death is so closely associated with diamond mining in parts of Africa. In the early 2000s, this is a major issue, and we will find miners who are being paid less than minimum wage, less than $1 a day, to dig these diamonds. If one is missing or they are even suspected of stealing, they will have their hands removed. There are entire wars that will be fought over these diamond mines. And so Hirst is getting at that, and also the role that England plays in a lot of the diamond mining, as we see colonization and the development of Rhodesia in the late 19th and early 20th century in southern and western Africa, where we see a lot of diamond mining today. He's also calling into question these ideas of the Memento Mori, an idea that we touched on as far back as the Renaissance, a reminder of death, a reminder that you can't take it with you. It doesn't matter how wealthy you are, it doesn't matter who you are, you die like everyone else. You become dust or worm food or ashes or whatever the situation is, like everyone else. And so it doesn't matter how bling your skull is, or how much money you have, or how many material possessions. He's reminding us that A, death will come, and B, that material consumption doesn't bring happiness. Now, there's one other aspect to it that I want to touch on. Not only does For the Love of God act as a reminder that our existence on earth is transient, but there's a companion piece, which is the skull you see on the right. That piece is a baby's skull. We can see it hasn't developed teeth yet. You get an idea of the age. And while it looks strangely alien, and to be honest, every newborn does, even mine did, it's still disturbing. It's giving us that idea that the child has no choice. Being born into a materialistic society means that they must participate, means that they must take part. It could also get to this deeper philosophical idea that the worst thing to happen to someone is to come into existence. For if you didn't come into existence, you wouldn't suffer pain or torment or any other negative experiences. And so it's getting at a lot of these different ideas. Materialism, culture, getting at blood diamonds, getting at the extent that we will go to, or the lengths that we will go to maintain appearance. So at the end of the day, for the love of God, incidentally, originating from exclamations Hirst's mother would have made on hearing plans for the work. As he explained, she used to say, "For the love of God, what are you going to do next?" So he names it after his mother's exclamation, "For the love of God." But the piece is a postmodern take on materialistic society. We could go back to Kirchner Street, Dresden, and see a comment on materialistic society. But this comment is that much more powerful. It's stripping away the context once again, or opening it up to the viewer. Each of you will interpret it differently. And it captures that postmodern idea that there may or may not be depth in a work. And scholars are constantly arguing about, is it simply a piece showing off Hirst's wealth? Is it a piece that he just came up with, or does it have a deep meaning to it? That's kind of the beauty of a lot of postmodern art.